Throughout this video clip, I aim to critically discuss whether it is possible or desirable to improve organisational performance using human resource management strategies, in particular the more contemporary practice of organisational development. Performance in the context of organisations is concerned with productivity, efficiency, effectiveness and competitiveness. With performance in mind, I intend to outline and bring together a number of strategies that will determine whether there is a link between human resource management, organisational development and performance. Human resource management is central to creating organisational competence and execute the firm's strategic goals. The decisions and actions of the HR managers can represent the difference between making a profit and losing money. Traditionally, the HRM approach focused on internal interventions revolving around the effectiveness of processes and staff and the efficiency of processes when measured against ratios such as staff turnover. However, the specific ways in which these practices affect organisational outcomes are not clear. This uncertainty is due to the fact that studies hold opposing views with respect to theoretical foundations, levels of analysis, definitions of HRM practices and measures of performance. Although recent studies have acknowledged that employees are one of the most important assets and that they are vital sources of revenues and profits to the business, there is a need for a more comprehensive practical justification to support this assertion. Some studies employ a best practice perspectives, arguing that certain HRM practices, such as high-performance work systems, can be universally applied to all firms. However, others examine contingency frameworks, arguing that the appropriate HRM practices depend on the contextual variables such as business strategy or environment. With these perspectives in mind, it is evident that simply applying or linking HRM practices to the business strategy is not enough. Ultimately, organisations must remove roadblocks to facilitate employee productivity by connecting people with essential abilities and motivation in order to affect lasting performance outcomes. There are various definitions of organisational development. It has been described by the CIPD as a planned and systematic approach, by Warner Burke as a planned process of change in organisations' culture, and by Wendell French as a long-range effort to improve an organisational problem-solving capabilities. Fundamentally, it releases the talents and vitality of people in organisations. Various definitions all come to the conclusion that an effective manager must understand that a properly designed, executed HRM planning system is the foundation for the alignment of individual employees' actions with the firm's strategy. Effective HR planning actually empowers an organisation to reach its objectives by enabling a dynamic fit between where the firm is striving to go and what the workforce is equipped to do. One of the most recent approaches to improving performance is organisational development. Organisational development is a planned, holistic approach to improving organisational effectiveness, one that aligns strategy, people and processes in the bid to help organisations deliver sustainable performance and improvement through people. OD involves both hard issues, strategy, policies, structures and systems, and soft issues that develop appropriate skills, behaviours, attitudes, culture and a style of leadership that will enable organisations to deliver optimum performance. Organisational development emphasises the fact that every part of an organisation is fundamental to a system that relies on and impacts other elements of the internal and external environment in which an organisation operates. Those who practice organisational development usually have a strong humanistic and democratic approach to organisational change. As HR has shifted from its tea and tissues reputation and the function has sought to become more strategic, proactive, commercial and professional, this shift now requires practitioners to deliver short-term HR activities alongside preparing the organisation for sustainable performance in the long term through its people. This shift has meant that the HR's agenda has extended to include all aspects of people processes which can deliver organisational effectiveness, the right people, the right culture, the right leadership, the right organisational design, the right change management, and the right people processes. The extension to the HR agenda now means that there are various interventions that are situated under the HRM umbrella, such as cultural change, change management, leadership management, organisational design, performance management, and strategic thinking. As organisational development sits under the umbrella of HR, it seeks to move forward from an administrative and an enforcer to implementing a systematic value. In terms of the role of the organisational development practitioner, it's very varied, and it seeks to improve the effectiveness of organisations through developing both business processes and people processes within the context of the organisation. As a result of their practice, organisational development practitioners are humanistic and at the centre of change and development effort, using their own identity as an instrument to drive change and help the organisation develop through each phase of the OD cycle. One of the most widely used models to help understand the elements in the organisational development practice is the Burke-Litwin model. The model shows the different types of organisational development interventions and also portrays the relationships between the different aspects of organisational system and how the individual performance relates to the organisation as a whole. The skill in terms of the Burke-Litwin model is to identify to work in these areas where there is likely to be most leverage. The Ulrich three-box model also suggests that a successful HR activity produces contribution to the organisation's goals and within a prevailing culture. Revelation was that strategic HR could contribute significantly to business performance. According to research, the basic HR process delivers only 18% of business performance, whereas for strategic HR, it's 43%. One of the first steps to successful implementation of the model is for the HR community to fully understand the external business realities and the needs of the customers. Another model that supports the organisational development practice is the Lewin's change model. The Lewin's model provides an understanding of the importance of the human process. Lewin was one of the first that laid the foundation of the personal development programs and team building events that remain part of the organisational practice today. Lewin's change model supports the OD strategy in that it seeks to achieve a situated action as a result of recognising patterns in the environment through a complex adaptive system. The nature of context means that it's often impossible to know or plan in advance of every significant detail. Therefore, using this model, firms are able to set some objectives to ensure that the organisational members are ready and receptive to change. Although this model is frequently criticised as rigid and inflexible, strategically it enables firms to create a vision for change, eliminate obstacles, and respond to forces as they arise using a systematic approach. Another model that supports the organisational development practice is the McKinsey 7S model. The uses of this model can be as a static picture to determine how effectively the organisation is implementing its strategy. Also, it can be used in conjunction with a current state and an intended future state. By comparing the current and future states, gaps can be assessed, which leads to improvement and action plans. Like any model, there are good fits and poor fits. This is a practical model for taking a snapshot and comparing that to a desired state of improvement. It visually shows how everything is linked and understanding the larger implications of change. As a result of my findings, I believe that it is in fact possible and desirable to improve organisational performance through HRM strategies such as organisational development. Multiple practices should be implemented systematically and reinforce each other. Different types of HR have to be delivered by different people, and different organisations need a different ratio of HR components, so analysis of business are needed, and consequent HR alignment is vital. It is true that transforming HR is possible to attain organisational performance. However, it's not some overnight quick fix. It's a complex cultural change for both HR and the firm that takes time. The main issue for many business is finding the time to break out of the cycle of the transitional to implement the transformational. For organisational development to be successful, it needs careful planning and delivery. Missing steps, setting unrealistic deadlines, forcing it into the business, and failing to be business-led may lead to potential failure. It's critical that managers are mindful of their fit with the firm's features beyond strategy to achieve the desired organisational performance.